The thoughts, opinions, and most importantly the perspectives expressed in this show are solely those of the participants including all guests, and do not reflect the opinions or practices of More Heights Media and or any of its production or advertising partners. Furthermore, More Heights Media does not endorse or condone all topics discussed during this broadcast. This show is purely for entertainment.
But like I want to make it a little bit more awkward than it needs to be, just like for my personal entertainment. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, you feel like this is going too well?
No, but like this isn't the
Want to
setting.
stir the pot a little bit?
This isn't the setting I would want to make it awkward, right? But
We can go back to the 40 acres and a mule if you want.
or I could just be like, hey, Channing, so how are you going to celebrate Black History Month?
I thought about that one too, yo. You know what? Touch me. I thought about that one too.
But the real estates are still relatively high, and people are anticipating I use the word anticipating. They're anticipating that the interest rates are going to come down, but the market's going to go right back up. It's not going to take long.
Well, let's ask the professional.
I was just about to say that.
I was going to say, I'm just speaking my perspective, but I was saying all that to say, correct me if I'm wrong.
There's a reason he's here, and we very much appreciate your presence.
That part.
I don't know if we're doing last names, first names only, nicknames, because around here they call me Bun.
I was going to say, what is your nickname?
You can find me on Instagram at wha'SUP Bun. Behind the scenes we got Knots, Zealous. Trying to figure this out real quick, but all the strength to you, brother. Love always. SB the student over here. Find him on Instagram at SB the student.
You got it.
416 face over here.
Holla.
But the special guest in the building today. Let me give you a sound effect real quick.
Only going up this year.
Ooh,
That
that's
is
a good
my
one.
very favorite sound effect that exists on this board.
Only going up this year.
Real estate juggernaut. Actually, you know what? You can do the intro.
Let's do it. So we got our a local agent from the Port Credit area, Mr. Channing.
Got that
Prater.
headline.
But before
Mr.
we get to
85.
that, let me give him some applause real quick.
Well done.
Yeah, but,
Awesome.
But thank you for joining us and giving us your time here.
No,
And
thank you
we're
guys.
Looking forward to this conversation.
I appreciate the opportunity to come out and hang out with you guys. I've been listening for a while, known you for a while.
Oh yeah.
And hoping it'll just be a fun night.
Is it weird to see this guy now in this type of space? Because you know him through the
No.
real estate game, but
Not at all.
not at all?
Not at all.
You saw this for him the entire time?
I saw this sort of avenue available to him for ever since I've known him.
Boom.
Yeah. How long have you guys known each other?
Aiming for 5 years,
Yeah, about
give or
5.
take. Yeah.
You think he's funny? Ah man, I feel like this guy's laughing already. Like it didn't take much, eh?
I haven't seen his stand up actually.
Okay, but
Yeah.
just being around him,
Just
like
being
hanging
around
with-
him, yes.
in the office, whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a little bit of juice there. He's got something.
He's got something going on.
All right. Well,
I'd blush if I was like lighter skin, you know.
I got that for all of us. Eh?
what happened here though? I see that little nick on your face.
Yeah, I fell.
I mean,
on
that's
story.
The listeners
have
may
time.
not be able to see it, but anybody watching on YouTube, shout you out. And while we're there, make sure you hit the link, the like, the subscribe, the notifications. You're explaining that nick on the side of your face. What happened?
Yeah.
What happened?
It's nothing to discuss.
What?
It's just a silly slip. I just slipped. I fell.
Oh yeah.
What'd you land on?
Yeah. The floor. yeah.
Man, I was hoping for something a little bit better than that.
Try to give the alley-oop.
Anyways, back to you, sir.
I could have made an adventurous story, but
So, Channing, Port Credit, real estate extraordinaire. Where'd you grow up? Did you grow up in the city or
I grew up in Virginia.
Virginia?
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I heard a little of a southern twang,
Little
of some
twang,
sort.
A little bit, yeah.
little bit.
Well,
When'd you make the move up here?
I've been in Canada for 22 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ish.
What brought you up here?
My ex-wife.
All right, there it is.
Them ones.
Man, you beat me to it because I was about to. That was mine.
Isn't it funny how life works though?
Yeah.
Like you come here and then it's like it's an X now, but you're
But
here
you're
now.
still here.
Yeah. Oh man.
How long?
Yeah, I built a life for 22 years, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you established clientele and all that, I bet.
Actually started building my clientele toward the end of a relationship.
Okay.
So my journey was a little different in that her dad was a real estate investor. It's part of what got me into real estate. And yeah, anyway, he's actually still like my best client.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing, right?
Says a lot about the relationship though, right? And the character.
For sure.
Like certain things, might not work out, but if you got a genuine relationship with somebody, you're integral, you got your honesty or whatever that is between yourselves, there's no reason for it to fall apart. And I think that's a strong message for a lot of people that do go through that sort of thing. You don't have to cut everybody off, when you're going through a divorce situation or a breakup, because oftentimes the families have to pick a side, but I don't necessarily believe in that. I feel like you should still be able to coexist. After
Yeah, but
the
it
fact.
still takes the two main parties, which would be you and that person. If you guys can't, then what else is there? Should you still try to have a relationship with people outside of that person then? Like whatever siblings they may have?
It'll be case by case.
Exactly. Everything's
It'll be case by
circumstantial.
case. But I'm just saying, like, kudos to you guys to be able to still have that ongoing relationship.
I think in our particular situation, she and I just decided that we can't be together because we wanted different things. It
Yeah.
wasn't necessarily like it was this hardcore break.
It's amicable.
It's just we're at a point in time in life that we want different things, and we were adult enough about it to make the decisions that we needed to before it turned dirty.
Yeah.
And then, through the process, her parents kind of had a conversation with me and said, at the end of the day, your relationship with us is different from your relationship with her. And just know that going forward, we're still in relationship with you.
Amazing. Good on them,
So,
too. That's amazing.
yeah.
Damn it, that kind of just hit home for me, to be honest.
How so?
Damn it. Now I got to explain myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Speak your perspective, brother.
Let him know, man. Let him know.
This ain't your first time on here, is it?
That's what I'm saying, man. Oh, man.
Now let's get it all in perspective.
So I also separated. I never got married. We were engaged, but it never happened. Things didn't end very well after the fact, and it was sort of, for me, I'm just cutting everybody off from that side. Since then, not a single word to any of them. But when I say I got rid of everything, everything's gone. They clothes, anything that he was even from that time, gone. Like, it's just, I removed all of it.
You know, when you say that's interesting. So when we sold the house, so I went through the same thing. So I went through a divorce too, for the viewers that don't know. But we had this album that we had created. I don't remember if she had given it to me or I'd given it to her, but it was of all her trips. We went on a whole bunch of trips.
Mm-hmm.
And
I still got some pictures.
I got pictures too, but this album was pre-marriage, and I threw it out. As I was throwing it out, I was like, I wonder if I should keep this for my kids. Like, maybe they would want to see this. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I did think of that, but then in the moment, I'm just like, but where am I going to put it? Like, I don't really care for it. So, not that I regret it, but I'm with you as far as just getting rid of most things. But it would have, I don't know. I guess I'll find out when I'm older. Like, it might have been something for them to kind of see, because I don't think it was like, I think actually a lot of the pictures were with a camera, not just
Not digital.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's just a different perspective. Maybe they'll look back one day and be like, oh, I want to see that or whatever, or let me see the wedding or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And just hearing you speaking about that, having that relationship with somebody outside of her still in the family, maybe I might consider that.
Well, I think that's an understatement. It's more like you have a really good relationship with them because
Exactly.
he's still your number
That's
one
the
client.
foundation, yeah.
Not only that, like, there's a new baby in the family, and I'm
nice.
quite involved with the baby, and
Nice.
there's, like, we're in relationship.
Yeah, that's
So, you know, I'm lucky because in many ways, like when I moved from Virginia,
Yeah.
all of my family is back home.
Yeah.
And so I came here to be with her, and all of the family that I created is that family.
Yeah.
So had I not had access to them, I don't really know what that would have felt like.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's people and friends around you that you create.
Yeah.
You create a family with people who are close to you, but it's a little different. There's a lot of history there.
So let me ask you a question.
Sure.
How does your current partner feel about that?
How does my current partner feel about that? I think first of all, she trusts me implicitly, and
Great answer.
and the other thing is that was a discussion before we were together. The fact of the matter is, this is part of who I am. I don't choose the other family over her. If there's an event,
Smart man.
I'm with my family,
Yeah.
my immediate family. But yeah, I mean, she knows that they're in the picture, and my ex is not.
Yeah.
So it's a completely different thing.
Okay.
I feel like we're getting way too much in the man's business at this point.
Yeah, I was about to go even deeper into your
I will tell you if it's too much.
Yeah.
All right, just checking.
Yeah.
I mean, because there is a reason that you're here. Because we are going to speak a little bit more about real estate. So
Yeah,
we can either go with your question or we can.
We could do whatever you want. We could hit the challenge real quick and take a quick break, or we could go right into the real estate. 'Cause we got more than one person talking real estate right now. So
You know what? How about we start there? You got some big. You need a sound effect for that? Choose one,
Let me know.
Make it the sound of
Talk
coins.
to me, man.
Where's my one though? Where's my one? It's been a minute. I just recently bought and sold my current house, my first crib, and purchased a new one.
Congrats.
So I'm
Winner,
Yeah.
Ganyo.
Let's hope them interest rates come down. Then I'll feel more of a winner. But yeah, so I'm relatively understanding of what the market is like right now. I haven't been for a few years. I mean, I think you're more invested in it when you're in it.
For
you
sure.
know, you mean naturally anybody can pay more attention than the other. But yeah, man, it's an interesting time. The interest rates, I think, have created, because it's been a seller's market for a very long time. And then I think, like, with the interest rates being what they are, it started, I think that initially shifted the market back to the buyer, because it's just got to a point where it's just so hard. And it's just like, listen, if I'm going to be dropping these dollars, I need to make sure that I'm getting exactly what I want or close to what I want, because otherwise it's just not worth it, because it's a lot of money. And I think that's what a lot of people have, at least in this current market, have pretty much decided, and that much dictated how the market has gone. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just a player, or I guess I was a player in the current market. But yeah, speak to what you think.
Like, what are you telling your clients right now?
Yeah.
Buy, sell.
Just before we move on from this, I'm just curious in regards to your whole buy and sell process. When did you start looking for a new place? What prompted the move? Was this a situation of needing a larger place?
There's a few things. There's a bunch of things. I think what pulled the trigger was neighbors. We got some neighbors that were just fed up with, just inconsiderate.
Really?
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You can't choose your neighbors.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
And
And
spilling those kind of beans right now? You know we're getting into all of that.
man asked the question.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We gotta knock on their door and get them to subscribe to this and be like,
I am a door knocker.
That catapulted,
Not
I guess,
the
that
door knockers.
it created some urgency, I guess, or I guess that much more urgency, but it's a bunch of things. When I bought the crib, I was pretty much a bachelor, you know, and now
You do know what he means when he says crib, right? Just making sure.
don't do him like that, bro.
Come on, man.
Hey, man. We know, you got to make it clear for everybody. You never know. Just
Fair enough. When I purchased my house, my first house, Yeah, I was a
Ends.
bachelor.
More times we call it the ends.
The ends.
Like,
Come on, we all watch MTV Cribs, man.
Yeah, I was a bachelor, and now, married, wife, kids, and it's just not that big as it was when I first moved in. So now, I was up for renewal. Kids are getting bigger. Can't deal with the neighbors. It's just like, you know what? If not now, when? Because it was still going to be inevitable. Like the kids aren't getting any smaller. You know what I mean? And it was just like, you know what? Let's just go. Let's just go.
I think of all the things that you just shared, right? I think it's hilarious that you led with, the neighbors.
That's the trigger though. But that's what pulled the trigger. That's what created the urgency. You know what I mean? There wasn't an immediate need to go anywhere. We weren't like can't wait to get out, can't wait to get out, can't wait to get out.
Yeah.
But then the more and more you deal with some ish, in the community next door, it's just like enough. It's just enough. Let's just find peace and
So I gotta
take care of all the other things that we need to take care of.
as we often digress, but I
do
gotta
okay.
know. Give me the one. Give me the one that really like stung. Where you're like, I
This
can't
is
believe
it?
these guys just did this
This
right
is
now.
it.
Yeah.
Give me like
It's it's constantly because I currently live in a semi-detached home, and they're pounding music all hours. All hours. It doesn't matter.
One of them.
All hours. Like it doesn't matter.
Do you like the kind of music or no?
not even. Not
but
even.
If you did, would it have made a difference?
Yes. No, it wouldn't have made a difference.
You wouldn't have been like, I could vibe to this.
No,
and, like,
no,
you're cleaning,
because it's
listening
just
to their
it's so
music.
loud.
The
It's
babies,
so
the
loud.
babies can't sleep.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just like, we even confronted them multiple times. We weren't the only one. The other neighbors, like we live directly next to them, but there's other neighbors that, like, it's one thing for us to hear the noise, but other neighbors are hearing the noise.
So it's a next kind of sound clash. Huh?
They impacted the immediate community. Like, you know
As
what
an
I'm saying?
agent, though, what's the worst story you've ever heard?
Ooh.
As a neighbor story, I actually do have a client right now who repeatedly asked me to please knock on their next door neighbor's door, neighbor's door, and convince them to move.
I convinced them to
Yeah,
move.
try to get, This is my block.
No, I don't have a lot of bad neighbor stories.
Yeah.
I don't.
You got any?
Sorry.
Like, you got any like terrible house stories? You got to have a few of those. Like somebody trying to sell a house, and you're like, really? You're trying to sell this thing? Like,
Yeah.
You got a lot of work to do here.
Or for that price, like,
Yeah.
I bought a few houses. Like,
Man,
really, for that price? No, you know what? I've been pretty lucky in regards to the clients that I've worked with. In that, I haven't had any big shade incident there. So
That's a good thing.
yeah.
How about just in terms of a transaction? Like, have you ever like gone down to the wire, like trying to get a deal done, and you're like about to shit your pants type of nothing?
No. The reason why is that there's a lot of due diligence that goes in. I am a listing and buyer agent. I prefer to do the buys.
Yeah.
Just because for me, it's a lot. I like the feel good part of that.
Okay.
Like, I like knowing that if I sit with a family and ask the right questions, and I'm able to put them with a house that perfectly fits them, and that when they're sitting down and they're having Christmas dinner, it's at a house that I helped them find that's perfect.
We're gonna hit the handles, guys. Don't worry. I know you're looking for an agent. We'll hit the handles.
Hopefully, after this, his price is going up.
Only going
Right?
up this year.
No. I don't know where I was going with that.
It's all right. Perfect segue though, because the couple that you just helped recently.
Man, you want to take a quick break? Because that's
I was
big
gonna
news.
say,
That's
yeah, before we get
that's
into
like CP24 hit the chimes type breaking news. So
Okay, fair enough.
we'll take a quick little break, and we'll be back with some more that special information that we got for you. If you're in the GTA and need your car detailed, visit Speckless Pro Auto Detailing. They specialize in both exterior and interior cleaning, including headlight restoration and salt stain removal. Book online at www.speclistprodetailing.com or call 416-262-0702. Don't accept anything less. Visit Speclist. Big reason you're here. I believe, what are we, a few weeks back, 31st of January, I think it was.
Yeah.
A home in the GTA where we are, outside of Toronto, sold for just under $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
The special part was that there were 85 offers on the home. And it's been a while since we've seen homes going with even 3 offers as of late.
Or even a offer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That part.
Yeah.
Days on market have definitely increased.
Yeah,
right?
they have
Definitely
increased for sure.
Yeah.
But you happen to be part of that deal.
I did. I managed to bring the successful buyer to that offer out of 85. Now, what there has been a little bit of publications here, there, and everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
One of the details that was not in the media anywhere, which to me is part of the bigger story. It just gives me a huge kick. So when we go into offers, when you know it's going to be a multiple offer scenario, the listing agent will send out some instructions as to how he expects that offer day to go. And so the instructions that day were that you had to register your offer by 11 o'clock and that presentation would begin at noon. So I actually had a meeting at 11:15. I register my offer. I'm the very first offer to register that day.
What?
Yeah.
I want to recap real quick, okay? 'Cause
Wow.
I feel like we never put enough emphasis on this. 85 offers.
Yeah.
85 offers.
Yeah.
Please continue. So you're
And
the
the
first
first.
one.
I'm the first one to register. Now,
Yeah.
everything about my offer would have been the same had I been number 25, had I been number 40.
Exactly.
Nice.
Everything would have been the same.
That shows experience.
But without going into whether there were conditions in your offer or not, is it because yours just came in at the highest than everybody else's at that point?
I think there were a couple factors that decided whether we actually won the offer, and part of that was the closing date aligned to what the seller needed.
There you go.
Okay.
So, a big portion of going into any offer scenario is to be in touch with that listing agent and find out as much as you can about what's important to the seller.
I swear to goodness, I was going to ask you some of this stuff, but continue.
Yeah, I think what was funny is, like I said, I was the first one to register an offer. And just as a matter of course, what registering an offer means is that it's literally like one single page that is your intent to bring a full offer.
Okay.
When you put that first registration in, you're required to bring an offer. So it's a legally binding one pager without any of the details. It just says, hey, by the way, make sure that my hat's in the ring.
Yeah.
My offer's forthcoming.
Even if you come with that offer after and that offer is BS, you still...
I could have put in an
Exactly.
offer for $1.
Yeah.
I could have
All
done
you're
that, but I
legally
have to bring
required to
a
do
offer.
is- yeah.
All right. So I have been asked what would have happened had you not been the first registration of the offer? Like, what if you before you send in your offer, you see that there's 30 offers? Would
Yeah.
you have done something differently? No. Would I have panicked? Maybe. Maybe. I would have felt a little bit of heat about that for sure.
Yeah.
But I always have a conversation with all of my clients when we're going into a scenario where I believe it's going to be a multiple offer. And I try to counsel them that once we see the home, that home has a value to you. And I need you to know and be very clear on what that value is to you before we're in an emotional situation.
Boom. That's key, by the way.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, and same thing, like maybe from our teachings, having that conversation and managing their emotions, your client's emotions beforehand, before getting into anything, and they're not attached to the property, huge. And it'll save you a lot of headache and heartache for them, at least. That level of preparation is important.
And managing the expectation. So that's
Exactly.
the 85 offers. The story's not that my client happened to be the one that was successful with the offer. The bigger story there is speaking to lack of inventory, period.
Yeah.
Lack of inventory at a price point that would be that first-time home buyer at $1 million.
Yeah.
or below.
If it's past $1 million, you're gonna have to come with 20% down payment.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people can't come up with is that 20%. A lot of times people are going with 5%, 10%, 15% offers, and they're willing to sacrifice conditions. Like I'm willing to inspection, whatever. There's all kinds of crazy offers going on these days.
I'll add in another thing too that I think highlights this quite a bit, and they touched up on it a little bit on the article that was out on CP24. The lack of experience on some of the realtors, where they don't know what's going on in the market.
Everybody's got a license these days.
Well, yeah, and then it's just like I get that the house is put on the market low, but there is still a market value assessment. Like you could get an idea of what the other houses have sold for, what this is likely to sell for, and to manage your clients' expectations. And not to just put in an offer for the sake of putting in an offer.
Correct.
And that's silly. You know?
So that home was last listed in 2017 at a price that was similar to what it was listed at for this time.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if a buying agent does the research, bear in mind before the pandemic, most properties, just kind of as a rule of thumb, it would alter a bit, but typically you would look at a 5% increase year over year, no matter what. Obviously some fluctuations, it could go like a little higher, but as an average, just call it 5%. So obviously the landing price was not going to be what the listing price was in 2017. It was certainly a discussion that listing agent had with his clients, and they decided on that price. No shade on him. That was completely, their opportunity to do that.
Do you know whether the seller was like they were living there or just an investment property for them?
They were living there.
They were living there? Okay.
They had a strategy, so to do what they did.
To list low.
Yeah.
So, I think the bigger story there is, number one, you had 84 other people at that price point willing to move into that neighborhood. And you obviously had some buyer agents, and I'm not, don't intend to throw shade on everybody else out there, because
I'll do it for you. Don't worry.
A buying agent also has to have a conversation with their client.
Yeah.
And so we don't know how many of those buying agents said to their client, this isn't going to happen, and the client insisted that the offer get written. So that's their own conversation.
Yeah.
There were a ton of offers that came in at ask, and I believe...
Oh, there were a ton that came in at ask? Sorry, at ask. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. That's my understanding.
Sure,
But yeah, there were some expectations there that didn't get met. They had some very active open houses. There were apparently 300 showings in total.
Wow.
The night that I showed the property, it was multiple booked. Like typically we would have at least 15 minutes alone, oftentimes 30 minutes alone for the showing. When I walked in, I was the one that had control over the key, but there were 4 other agents and their clients in the home at the same time.
It's like COVID times again.
Exactly. Exactly. So, it's kind of like one of those things. Okay, we're done. We're gonna leave now. And I'm saying to the next guy, I need to see your appointment confirmation and your business card. Here's the key.
How long did they give you for the bookings? Did it get back to like having only like 15 minutes, 30 minutes? Like, did it get that busy? Because 300 showings is a lot.
We had the full 30 minutes.
Okay, nice.
But yeah, most of that 300 showings was, you probably saw some photographs.
Yeah, I did. It's like a
people
lineup.
Were lined up to get into the open house.
Yeah, that's nuts. That is
so,
nuts.
Going back to an earlier question that you guys asked in regards to what's going on with the market now.
Yeah.
I was also in a property today listed at 1,775.
Nice.
Third day on the market. Open house today, 20 groups through. Got a first offer on it.
Nice.
As our open house began.
Wow.
As it began?
As it began. So the market is...
It's heating up.
It's heating up. It's also area specific. So I think what happened with the 85 offer was more or less... really that conversation was about its price point. Yeah. That was a first-time home buyer sort of a scenario. In regards to the interest rates, certainly that's played a big part in this story. I personally don't have a crystal ball. I personally don't believe that interest rates are going to fall until definitely second half. And
the best they'll do now is stay where it's at. And staying where it's at is a plus for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. That's a trigger to them that, okay, we're going to start going back down, so let me get back into the ball game now before the rest of you guppies come on later, and then it's too late because
That's exactly
it's going to
it.
be too active.
That's exactly
to play
it.
ball.
The moment that it trends down, all of the people who have been on the sidelines are going to come rushing back out.
Yeah.
You know, it's already busy. We have had for a long time a problem with inventory in the GTA. In specific, this time of year, there is always a problem with inventory this time of year.
Yeah.
So that also played some impact in what was going on with the 85 offers.
This time of year, there's not going to be much to offer, but you'll find more of a bargain. No?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay.
No.
Because I would hear that back in the day. Like if you're looking and you're trying to get something for
Winter's
cheap,
the
like
best
on the
time.
low, yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's not a lot of foot traction. People don't want to go tromp through the snow. They'd rather stay inside. So
Where's
don't wanna
the-
move
where's
in
the
the winter.
snow right
well, yeah,
now?
now. So I was speaking to like previous years
Yeah.
more
But-
so.
But even that though, I mean, it's still case by case. Like you still have to weigh in all the other like
Immigration.
factors. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Immigration, bond yield.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
There's all these things that are rolled into real estate. Like if you want to know what's going on with the economy as a whole, you look to real estate as the industry to figure that out.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll throw another question out there.
Sure.
How happy were the clients?
It's
Because that like knowing you personally, like outside of all this, I know you genuinely care. It's not just a paycheck. Like you will check in with your clients, past clients. You build that relationship with them. Hence why you get repeat referral, right? Even again, to your ex's father still using you, right? But how happy were they? What did that mean for you?
They were very happy. So I met them at an open house on another of my listing about 3 weeks ago.
There we go. Keep him busy, Channing.
Yeah, so I think they were surprised to get it done so quickly.
Yeah. How long were they looking, if you don't mind me asking?
3 weeks.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. I think I read that in the article.
and
Yeah.
they were first time buyers, right?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
First time buyers, 3 weeks, and you win 85 out of 84 other people.
Yeah. And first out of 85.
And they got it just under $1 million. So were they able to put down about 20, or is that too much of their business?
Too
or?
much
Yeah, I was
information.
gonna say.
I mean, but by doing that, you're going to avoid paying insurance on your mortgage too, right? Once you have a 20% down payment.
Correct. Now, I know that a few of the news articles that have been out, by the way, just for anybody listening who wants to be educated around this process, anything under $1 million, it's not just 5%. It's 5% up to the first 500,000, and then thereafter it's 10%. So on a purchase price of $1 million, it's actually a $75,000 down payment.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
Both you put on 20 on your first home?
Mm-hmm.
You too?
Yeah.
Yeah. You put on 20? Yeah. Eh?
I should put more.
Well,
I put more.
I like because I
It's not
remember
even weighing in closing costs and everything else.
I remember having a conversation like a long time ago, and one of my friends had asked,
Yeah.
like, how much I put down and what my down payment and stuff. I was like, yeah, 77 bands, bro.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that kind of money?
Yeah.
Yeah, I worked for that,
Yeah,
bro.
it was the
Like,
same-
like
It was the
I
same thing. We
made
dropped-
like moves, like
Dropped 80 on that. So
yeah, it's like. But some people wonder, like, it's really that challenging to get the money together to really purchase your first home, And-
especially now.
exactly
Like,
because
good
in
luck.
Canada it's becoming so much more challenging.
It's how do you save up anymore?
Do you?
There's a whole lot of the bank of mom and dad that's helping out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you keep up with U.S. real estate as well?
Not a lot.
Oh yeah.
Like, honestly, not a lot.
Don't let the accent fool you.
Yeah, I mean, I know what housing prices are, like where my mom is. My mom has 40 acres, and if I were to sell it, it would be
goodness gracious.
110,000.
She got a mule too. Because like, my next question was gonna be, is she single?
As it were, she is.
Oh man, that is funny. That's funny.
40 acres, man. That's a lot of land, bro.
That's a lot of land.
Man, the things I could do with 40 acres.
This guy's mind is just.
I know.
By the way, that button is
Yeah.
it's Pusha T, right? He's from Virginia too.
Yeah, shout out
So,
Virginia.
Yeah, there we go.
Shout out the Clips.
After the deal was done, did you walk back into like your office, like, yeah, like I'm the guy, like, or is that like, is it just like a normal thing, like every now and again?
I wouldn't say it's normal, but
Yeah.
no, I didn't walk into the office like that. I actually wasn't in the office when it happened. Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, we had kind of figured out what the price should be for the house, and
When
once
from
that
there.
decision's made, I'm okay with whatever the outcome is.
Got you.
Can't be
Yeah.
attached to it.
Yeah.
How'd you feel when the news outlets started catching wind and you saw it all over the news and stuff? Because
Good question.
I saw it at work and I was like,
Yeah.
whoa, what's going on here?
Yeah.
When I brought it up to them, they already knew about it.
Yeah,
So,
everybody. was-
yeah.
Yeah.
I personally felt a bit saturated by it.
Oh,
Yeah. It was every time I turned on anything. It was on TikTok. It was on YouTube. It was on Instagram. I had people who didn't live in town.
We're about to pump it
who
up again, by the way.
Yeah.
Saw it on like Apple News and started sending me messages from like east out of town, and I don't know. It felt a little. I felt a little too much in the spotlight.
You don't like the
Low-key.
spotlight? Yeah, you don't like the spotlight?
I don't deserve the spotlight for doing what is my job.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel. That's kind of how I feel about it, right? Like, glad that I did it for this particular client. And
Has anybody reached out to you to now want to become a client? Like, hey, buddy, help me out. I heard what you did for those guys over there.
no,
Not yet?
not yet.
Well, hopefully they
I
will.
was gonna say we'll see post
Only going up this year.
this show. Yeah.
I mean, we can take a quick break if
Let's run it.
washroom break.
Yes.
All right, we back with some more SUP right after the break.
Walk through. Couple places that I ain't supposed to. I can make a step or you'll be local. Rich and then we dip out this blow woes. For sure, yo. Roll the man's eyes red, smoking peasy. Fresh gong, not the long, I'm feeling greasy. Pass it through like the game on easy. Niggas say they feel like Mike, but it's the Levy.
Who wants to be king?
Big up the homie over at First King Clothing, yo. It's got some joints outside. You saw that Bob Marley t-shirt?
Yes.
You saw it?
Yes.
Sick.
Yes.
Perfect timing. Movies
Yeah.
coming
I
out.
was gonna say yeah.
Smart.
Black History Month. If you need a new fresh tee, I mean, I think he's considering doing some long sleeve versions to that too, because it's still spring-ish weather. Go check him out at www.1stkingclothing.com or find him on Instagram, First King Clothing. Google him, do whatever you got to do. But back to you, sir. You had just mentioned the conversation that you have with your clients when preparing to go into this deal, of whether they're buying or selling, I imagine. When did you realize the importance of those conversations? Because I feel some agents are probably just in the game to, I don't know, try to make some money, and it's like they're not really considering that relationship part of it.
I had it in the buyer consult before I signed the paperwork with them.
Okay.
Like literally from day one. We have those conversations. Obviously, there's some things that would be specific to the home that they get ready to go in and offer on. But in general, I set people up for what the market conditions are for the area that they're working in. I let them know that when they are getting ready to go to offer on a particular project, they get a lot of information from me. I apologize in advance that they may get more information than they want. And what I would typically do, I look up all of the history of the property. I look up the school system. I go to the city and I find out if there's ever been any permits opened. I find out if there's been any permits closed. I do a neighborhood search. Like, there's a lot of information. I look at the demographics. I look at a heat map of the property over like a 5-year period. How does it perform? Block compared to municipality. Lots of data, lots of information. I tend to work with people who are very detail oriented.
Okay. Well, how do you figure that out though? How do you know they're?
Because I am detail oriented, so I feel like the universe, like you attract what you are. So I think
You're,
that just
you're a
happens.
C personality type.
It happens organically. So
He is too, by the way. So you guys have the whole calculation.
When's your birthday? If you don't mind me asking.
May 7th.
May 7th.
Bruh.
Gemini.
Taurus.
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 Yeah, Taurus.
When's your birthday?
May 4th.
And there you go, man.
Well, just some history real quick. I don't know if you know, he and I have been best friends since grade 2. That's
Cool.
how far back we
Yeah.
go.
I go back with all of these guys. Actually, I'm one of the.
He's the bridge.
I basically.
Yeah.
It's funny
That
because
sounds like a pause to me.
You can't do that no more. You can't say it sounds
Right.
like a. It's either you. It is.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I'm not the one that said it, so.
Fair enough. No, yeah. It's funny because when I was listening to you talk about SB, I was just going back to when I introduced these guys, and that was like literally our first show. And I was watching them interact, and I'm seeing like, I'm realizing, I'm thinking, okay, like, I wonder if he's thinking this, or I'm wondering if he's thinking that.
Yeah.
As they interact in real time, like I was participating, but I said I'm going to sit back because I want them to get to know each
See
other.
what
Because if
happens.
we're going to do this, like I need to see how they interact, and
Yeah.
here we are.
That's exactly what I was saying. When
Yeah.
when different like
Entities,
yeah,
Yeah.
entities, groups of friends,
demographics.
yeah,
I
that
know,
whole
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
It's fun. It's fun. Like sometimes maybe this isn't the right setting, but like I want to make it a little bit more awkward than it needs to be, just like for my personal entertainment. Like you know what I mean?
Well, you feel like this is going too well?
No, but like this isn't the
Want to
setting.
stir the pot a little bit?
This isn't the setting I would want to make it awkward, right? But
We can go back to the 40 acres and a mule if you want.
or I could just be like, hey, Channing, so how are you going to celebrate Black History Month?
I thought about that one too, yo. You know what touched me? I thought about that one too. When we were talking about the Bob Marley thing, I thought about that one too. I promise you, I thought about that one too. But going back to the whole conversation thing, like, I don't know. Do you find that people have always appreciated that part of it? Because the process can be very fast at the same time for some people and overwhelming. And you could even speak to that for a quick
Bruh.
second if you want.
No, for me, it was
You've got a pretty
overwhelming.
decent agent too. Shout out,
Yeah,
Carla.
shout out Carla Gomez, man.
Yeah, every time.
Not on this
Every time.
episode. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Shout out to Carla if she gave him the sense
No,
of
for real,
confidence
for real.
that he needed.
What a gentleman.
Did
Look
the
at
first
this guy.
time. No, but that's actually something I wanted to bring up. So obviously there's a level of competition amongst your real estate cohorts. That being said, you still have to work together. So how do you compete with the people who technically are going to be giving you alley-oops every now and again? Like how do you maintain your relationships, you know, or how do you strong arm the competition? Like what's your process of navigation through the industry?
I think the big thing that is a word that you just said is relationship. So every client that I meet is maybe not a client that I'm going to click with. And
But you can click with them 17 times over for all you know.
sure.
Over the next 10 years, you can buy multiple properties with that
Sure.
same one.
I
client.
have several clients that I've done several transactions for. But I think
There's a cycle for them too, right? Like they're like typically you got the first year to 3 years, give or take 5 years. That's their first cycle. They've purchased their property. After the fact, you got kids. You're growing up. You're going to move into something a little bigger, right? You can speak to this more.
an average of 7 times in a lifetime
There-
people will move.
there you go.
So you got to
7 times?
You got to
times?
do this again.
Nah,
Wow.
bro, I'm done. I'm not
was
trying to
gonna
move
say,
again,
bro,
yo.
What?
7
One more
times?
at max. What?
That's the average.
Jeez.
But I think it's worth noting that I don't work with everybody because it's a very important relationship. It's not just about making that purchase and getting an accepted offer. You have to be with that person. You have to get along with that person. You have to know that you can communicate well with that person all the way to close. And not just that. If there's any sort of post-closing issues, you're still in conversation and relationship with that person, and you're looking for repeat and referral. So is this a person that you feel like you gel with and that you can work with going forward? So that's part of it. As for me, strong arming competition, there are some times where I realize this client and we're not gonna work well together for whatever reason. And then it might be a different referral. Maybe it's something that's in an area that I don't feel like I can properly service my client, at which point you make the referral because that's the right thing to do.
But I think I was more talking about like other agents or other, like, how do you navigate? Because 1 minute you can be going up against Carla Gomez and you can be selling a property. She might be wanting to buy a property. You can have to work together to bring that together, but the next minute you want to buy a property that she might want to buy with her clients. And then, like, how, for example, how do you navigate with other agents? Like, what's the playing field out, like, for you? Like, do you see it different for other agents? Like, just what's it like? Because I know real estate can be cutthroat at times, and it is very lucrative, so...
It can be cutthroat. Again, it goes back to the relationship. I would respect that another agent may have a better relationship with a particular client than I might, and I feel like there's business for everyone. So you always conduct yourself with professionalism.
I was going to use that word.
And then throughout the transaction, you remain in conversation with that agent. If they're the listing agent and you're the buying agent, you talk. And you make sure that if there's any issue with a particular transaction, if there's going to be something that's holding up a closing for whatever reason, you're just always in conversation to make sure that it goes smooth. And that, hopefully, none of that stress comes back to the client.
I'll highlight something that you said earlier to your question as well, where you're like, okay, so how did your offer get presented, and what was, that stood out with your offer opposed to other people? And it wasn't just the money, but it was when you mentioned that you're working with the agent to know what was important to them, the selling agent. So whether it be the closing date, whether it be certain conditions, whether it be the amount, whatever it is important to them, you're communicating that with your professionalism, with your relationship with the other realtor, the selling side, to know what's important to their clients as well. So that's obviously a part of, I don't want to say negotiation tactic, but it's definitely a part of the whole formula to make this, a successful deal. So again, communication, right?
Yeah, communication is huge. Like, there has been instances where I had a listing, and all of a sudden in my email box, I have an offer, and I haven't received a phone call. I haven't received a text. I don't even know the offer's coming. Right.
That's rough.
Yeah.
And you're doing a disservice to your clients at that point if you're not sharing that information with the opposing party, right? I know Bun's dying to hear about this. Jumping off topic, but staying on real estate still, the construction side of things. We know that you have quite a bit of experience on that side as well, and I think even before real estate as an agent, right?
So I've built a couple custom homes.
How many times have you done it?
I'm sorry?
How many times, approximately?
Twice from the ground up.
Okay.
And a few renovations throughout the process.
Okay.
Largely with my ex-father-in-law.
Yeah, I might need his. I need his number too. Hey man, we might become new best friends.
I was fortunate that I was in that relationship, and I think some things fell into my life that maybe wouldn't normally have been there. And I had an opportunity. It was almost like going to school.
Well, yeah.
So I have the privilege of being on a building site, involved with the permitting process, with the grading, with the concrete, with the everything. I stood on site all day, every day, managed all of the contracts, managed all of the trades, and literally watched everything happen.
Soak up.
I'll add that in for you, because I remember we'd go into certain houses, and he is extremely detailed. Like, he'll let you know the type of wood, the type of brick. Like, he knows his stuff, and like, I think that's a bonus in real estate agents. Like, I don't think most people would really know some of that information, but to have someone on your side to really be able to break down that sort of stuff, huge.
It works out for my clients a lot, because so I have a type of knowledge I think that not every agent has because of that experience. Within that, I'm not a home inspector. My knowledge is not to replace the advice of a home inspector in any way.
Have you considered taking that route ever? Becoming one?
No.
Okay.
No, when I walk through a house, I potentially have the opportunity to see some things that might be issues that are at least a springboard for questions that might be asked. So I think, my services are beneficial in that way just because I have that sort of experience.
Yeah, for sure.
But as far as home inspectors, I can remember when I took my real estate courses, there was a guy who came in who was taking half a day of real estate courses and half a day of home inspection courses. And again, not throwing shade on any industry, but I've often wondered how good of a realtor was he and how good of a home inspector was he, because he was missing half a day of class for both
but
industries.
you can take different avenues in real estate. Like, not everybody just becomes an agent. Like, there's plenty of roles that you can play within real estate.
Oh, for sure.
But oftentimes, all we ever think about is the agent part,
realtor,
where I'm just the one
Yeah.
going to these houses to show people places and stuff. So, a home inspector is one of those options.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, going back to the pre-construction stuff, what I want to do ultimately is be able to buy like land and then build from the ground up. What type of steps do you have to go through to even get started with that? And you can speak to, like, all of yours are within Canada or in the US as well?
Canada.
Just Canada? Okay.
Yeah. So you're looking to flip a home ultimately and create a business, or you want to do this?
I just want a brand new house, but
for you.
And I want to be involved in the designing of the land, all of it.
So you can have as much or as little input as you would like. It's extremely time consuming, and it's not for the faint of heart. You need a lot of time.
Yeah.
How do you get started? You choose a piece of land in a place that you feel will.
This is long-term goals, mind you.
No, for sure. Yeah. For me, any piece of real estate should always be looked at as to whether or not it works for your family if you're living there, but also how does it grow over time in money so that it can become the springboard to go on to
The next.
one of those other six places you'll have in your life.
Yeah.
So
I don't like moving, to be honest. No. The next home that I move into, I will never leave.
Yeah.
This is why I want to just do it the one time, and it's just set. Nothing needs to ever change it.
I will say I built the two houses that I built before, and in hindsight, there are things I would have done differently about it.
Is that just what word am I looking for? Just advancements in technology, like little things like, I don't know, heated bathroom floors.
Partially, just little things you think, oh, I could have did this in this area. I could have had a wine cellar in this space that is unutilized.
Yeah.
Like little things that, in hindsight, it's a little difficult to go back and fix it.
Yeah.
Or too expensive to go back and fix it.
And when I say these things, that's still just me working with an actual architect to develop it. But there are certain things, like very specific things that I want to incorporate. Small things.
And
big
not,
things.
not everything is possible. There is that adage of anything's possible with the right amount of money. Yeah. Everything's not possible. Most things are possible, but everything's not possible.
What is the process like, though? Because I imagine there's like 10 times the amount of permits you might need to get when you're just doing regular home renovations.
Typically, you would purchase a piece of property. You would
Just the dry land.
just a dry land.
Okay.
Because there's no structure on it, financing of that piece of property is different because the bank has nothing that they can place a lien against.
Okay.
So financing looks different with mortgage.
Okay.
Secondarily,
Those, you got to put like 50% down or something?
It depends on different products, and that one in particular, I'll defer to a mortgage agent.
Okay.
I'll stay in my lane. On that one. When I did it before, it was
that was a good politician move right there.
well, it's the reality. You
I know.
can't be an expert in everything.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
So,
valid. Yeah.
Some people are.
I'm not one of them for that.
Shout out Elon Musk.
Just heard that episode.
Man, it's got Putin giving them props.
Right.
We'll get into that later.
You would speak to an architect. You would make some choices. If there's a piece of, if there's a home there already, you get a demolition permit. You demolish the home. You then, after you've worked with the architect and you have your permitting process, sometimes the city, depending on the setbacks and so on and the lay of the land, you most likely will have to also have from a surveyor, you would have a grading plan done so that it shows that the water would run off properly and be able to go into the city runoff systems. And then you would start excavating, you would pour your concrete footings, you would pour your foundation walls, and then you get a framer.
And that's just the frame.
Yeah.
That's just the framing. Put a roof on it.
Yeah,
Get all your insulation.
Yeah, then you
and
gotta figure all the inside stuff.
start choosing tile.
How long does it typically take? Would that process take? Do you find this depends on how much money you got at the time?
Depends on how much money you have.
How
It
fast you can
depends-
get the paperwork done.
It depends on the location of the property. Let's say, for example, you were to purchase a place that were designated heritage, or some place that was designated conservation, or some place that you had to have site plan approval. It depends on the piece of land, and it depends on the municipality.
Yeah, valid. Yeah.
Would you
Permits
suggest
and all
anyone to move to at this point if you happen to be in the game of buying some property, some land to build on?
Would I suggest an area?
Yeah.
Again, that's a whole set of conversations that depends on your lifestyle, how much you want to commute to your office.
I like how you said lifestyle.
That's I mean,
How much you wanna spend.
it's a much bigger conversation. There is no one size fits all in real estate. It doesn't exist.
Well, okay, so can I ask this then? If you're a first-time home buyer, and given the current state of the economy, not everybody's got a whole lot of money to spend.
Right.
So if I'm, I don't know, making the average annual salary, and I'm trying to get into the market, is there an area within the GTA that you would say start heading in this direction? Is it up north? Is it Innisfil? Is it like Milton?
First of all, I like to interject real quick. I don't think you can with the average income in the GTA even have that conversation.
Yeah, but if I'm a first time home buyer right now, is there an area that I should now try to look to
Thunder
that
Bay.
you know is going to develop quickly?
I got some stories about that.
Because like you said, it's like you're trying to buy the property to live in, yes, but you also want the value of the property to increase over time. So is there a community that is on the uptick that they're developing in at the same time? So maybe I should consider moving in that direction if a couple years down the line.
There are, and my email address can be found in the show.
Bravo. You know what? Do you have a PR rep?
Yes, sir.
Oh, that was great.
And I think on that note, we'll take one more break and be back with some more perspective.
This episode is brought to you by Body Ammo. More than a look, it's a lifestyle. Pick up some body ammo to protect your mind, body, and soul. Now, back to some more of SUP.
From a young G's perspective.
Anyways, well, before we get to that, shout out Body Ammo real quick.
Shout out Pree.
Exactly. She's not here today.
That part.
We greatly appreciate the person that we have filling in that spot. Not to throw his name key in there. We didn't do last names, did we? Just Channing? We're leaving it at that?
Mr. Channing Prater.
Mr.
We
Channing.
did do last names?
There we go.
I didn't remember if you had said it off the top. But yeah, not to throw in the key in there.
AKA winning offers.
Channing 85.
Should be your tagline.
If you're
Hashtag 85.
if you're in the GTA and you're looking for a real estate agent, trust me, he's got you. Like SB said, winning offers out here.
Did you tell them the question that I asked you?
Which one was that?
So when I started listening to the show,
Yeah,
I noticed you have a different way of speaking with these guys than you have with me.
to a degree, but I don't think I shared that. We can share that right now.
Yeah.
You okay sharing that?
Certain words that he uses or something?
Intonation and everything.
Okay.
It was a side of him I had never seen or heard before. And I called him and I asked him, so by the way, listening to your show, and I just want to know, is there something about me that makes you not be your authentic self?
He did say that. He did say that.
And what was your response? Because this is interesting.
Yeah, it's I have more than one way of being, so I'm still authentic. It's just
You understand the settings.
exactly,
Yeah,
but
but-
it's not just settings. It's also just people. Like it's not. First of all, do you find it to be inauthentic that I speak a certain way with you and I speak a certain way with them? Or is it just...
I don't.
Yeah.
That's your definition of what's authentic to you.
Yeah.
I did a check-in with you because I
Yeah.
just wanted to make sure that I was being a space for you to be
I got you.
exactly who you are.
100%. So I'll add in like a third.
I really
narrative.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not even. For him, I really appreciate that.
Yeah. So I'll say it like this, and probably perfect time to say this. Shout out to the Sahota family. Yoshana, mad respect. Happy for you and your family and your newborn son. So one of my friends, his older brother, Sota, like Hardy, he's one of my best friends. He's Punjabi. Our dynamic is completely different now from how we are or how we are.
I bet. Yeah.
So it's just different kinds of people, and then you adjust or adapt accordingly. But you'll notice right now that it's clashing. I'm being a little bit of both. You know what I mean? Like there's a part of it that's professional. There's a part of
he
it
don't
that's
always come dressed like this. I don't know if you listen or you watch, but he don't always. He don't. He comes like this sometimes. Yes, I'll give you that.
Exactly.
But he doesn't always come. This is a little bit more decked out, to be honest.
So even that though, what I said was I know that you're gonna be coming dressed up. So it was from a comfort perspective. I'm like, okay, so I don't want to be in a hoodie and stuff like that right now, and then you're the only one dressed
I
like.
wanted to be
in
in
your
a hoodie.
words, a politician.
I heard the episode where you were talking about
Birkenstocks all day.
yeah, I didn't even want to wear jeans. Like,
Exactly.
man,
I put these on for you, bro. I'm like, pause. Trust me, I don't like. Trust me, I refuse. I hate it.
and then
I'm not with a client every day, right?
Yeah.
exactly.
So for me, like a lot of my work is on the phone.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when I'm on the phone, if I can be, I'm in my pajamas.
I hear you,
Man,
I hear you.
that is the way to live.
Comfort
Yeah.
is key.
Comfort is key.
Yeah.
But now getting into what you're saying, when we initially started this, I was active in the real estate game.
Yeah.
So I would be dressed up more like this than opposed to now.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing. If I have a choice, I'd rather be comfort. But even comfort varies. Like I don't want to be bummy comfort. Like I want to be comfortable and still look good in my own way. And I mix things up. Like
Shout out the pants real quick.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, I should shout out the pants.
Because when you came in, I felt them pause again.
Yeah.
But you would think that they're like downtown Bay Street type pants, and really they're just some comfortable nylon joints.
These are Lululemons. So they look like dress pants.
We'll
but
bleep that out.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll bleep that out. But I'm a fan of the creator, man. Was it Chip Wilson? I think that's his name.
Only you would know that.
Exactly.
I don't know how many times I've mentioned his book on here, but I'm a big fan of this guy. Just the level of detail that he puts into his research, like checking the quality, actually creating it, testing it through customers, clients, all that stuff. It's remarkable, like how knowledgeable he really is and how purposeful he is with every little thing that he does.
So, do you remember the see-through pants that they had for a couple of years?
No, I wasn't there.
Man,
No.
I hope you weren't there at that point.
I'd wear them.
You would be the one.
Lululemon, send them out, man.
Super comfortable.
So how would you say, I was just wondering, just with that, would you say he interacts with you more corporate, or like how would you describe how he deals with you?
So, Shabir and I,
Ooh, the gubbies.
You don't call me that.
We'll bleep that out too, don't worry.
Sonny and I, we met through a KW event.
Yep.
But we became close through our attendance in a personal development course that we were both hanging around for a while.
Yeah.
I don't see him as corporate or versus anything. I just see him for his authentic self. I found a version of your authentic self I didn't know about.
Valid. Yeah.
Through the podcast, but I don't know. I feel like we have some super serious conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've gotten on a very deep level in conversations.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's probably not anything that we couldn't talk about.
Yeah, I'd say that. I mean, the conversations have gone everywhere as far as from relationships to dealing with kids, your kids, children, how to raise them, the correct way to parent, to how to deal with clients, to how to manage relationships. And it doesn't have to be just a wife or not, but it could be, you know, your parents and stuff like that, your siblings, all that. So, like, outside of the way that I'm speaking, I feel I'm still openly vulnerable. I'm not hiding anything. Like, we could get right to the good stuff. Like, let's put it on the table and let's go there, you know? That I don't hold back. But I do, that's not for everybody. So the fact that I could speak like that with you guys is a big thing to me, you know? Contrary to how I may be relaying that message, the message is the same, you know?
Yeah.
So I just look at that as more effective communication. And that's my biggest goal. Like, if I could write a goal for myself, I don't want to be the best communicator that ever lived. Like, that's how I look at myself. And not just you guys, but even the way that I'm talking to my kids, or I'm talking to some of my students now, like that are children, you know, 5 and under at times. So it's like, even animals, man, like, you know what I mean? Like, I just want to be able to communicate at a high level where the person has no reason to not understand what I finish saying to them or the way that I'm explaining. And it sometimes happens here and there, but you continue the dialogue. But yeah.
You got a direction you want to take with this conversation, so.
Yeah, I was looking at it as being the medium, that there's a few commonalities that we have, just to get to know you outside of the real estate perspective. That you are in an interracial relationship. We've talked about that quite a bit on the podcast as well. It's a thing. You want to touch up on that a little bit?
How long they fresh out the gate? First one?
First interracial?
Yeah.
No. Most of my
Honestly,
adult relationships have been interracial relationships.
Oh yeah?
He likes the seasoning.
Spun the block a few times?
I don't know that it's purposeful. I do have a thing for brown eyes.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. Naturally, it's just kind of evolved to whoever I've been partnered with. I've also always been partnered with people that I was friends with first.
Cool.
And so part of those relationships weren't. It's not like it's chosen because it's an interracial relationship.
Yeah.
It's just naturally evolved from a friendship because it's the best basis of a relationship.
How many of those have you initiated? Were you the one to say, well, this is a friendship, but this might be interesting as more than that?
My current partner, it's like we went out for dinner with friends and then it just felt like a date when we were there. Like, it's just completely organic and unexpected, and
it's a solid foundation.
Everything good. It's super, super solid foundation for sure.
And was that the first time you guys met, or was it
no?
So where'd you guys meet?
So we actually met through the same personal development classes that Sonny and I met.
I need to get in these classes. What?
Lots of communication stuff. So, like, it's been key in our relationship because we have a different way of communicating from the get-go. And also because we developed from a friendship. I think it's one of those things where when you evolve into something that's more than friends, everybody already knows what the other person's warts are.
Yeah.
So those sort of things, like, you've already made your determination whether or not you can be with that person because you know all the goods and all the bad. And
it goes back to the client relationship as well. It's communication based. If you're able to communicate with whatever the relationship is on a deeper level, that foundation is irreplaceable, you know, regardless of which direction it's going. And then add friendship on top of that. Oh my God. Like, you got the recipe, right?
For sure.
And just, I correct me if I'm wrong. You guys started off on a friendship basis too, if I'm not mistaken.
Definitely
right?
did. Yeah. Definitely did that. Yeah. And that allowed us to catapult our relationship to where it is now, because we were friends for a hot minute, but then in our 20s, we kind of went our separate ways. Yeah. And then we came back to each other in our 30s.
Yo, Bun, you taking notes? We gotta start these girls in friendships, bro.
You know what I mean? So yeah, the friendship definitely laid the foundation and allowed us to carry our relationship to where it is now. I wanted to ask you, Channing, you said that you guys had different levels of communication. Do you attribute that to your ethnicities or your cultures or where you come from, or is it just a simple thing of we're two different individuals, two different communication styles, it is what it is?
More what I'm speaking to is that, first of all, I think both of us had come out of relationships where the communication wasn't always perfect. And
Careful now, the client. Huh? You don't want to lose that. Kidding, I'm kidding. Obviously.
I was at a point in time in my life, and again, the courses that were taken, there was a lot of philosophy, I would say, if you wanted to kind of, like, it's very hard to describe, but there's...
They don't say it like that. They don't want to advertise that, but there's definitely, there's a psychology component, there's a neuroscience component, there's a philosophy component.
It gets you thinking.
Communication's huge.
Good.
For sure.
Yeah.
Oh, you're diving deep into the philosophy right now.
Yeah, no, I could see it.
Yeah.
I could see it. And I think for me, funny you say that, because before I got into I'm in the television industry. So I went to school for broadcasting and film, but I did a year of general arts and sciences before that. And in that year, one of the things we study a bit of is philosophy.
Yep.
So I've learned about Karl Marx. I've learned about the Socratic, all Socrates, all of these things. And they do help in understanding people as a whole.
Oh, yeah. I feel even deeper than that is the ability to start understanding yourself. So in order for me to have this communication with you and for me to get to know you better, I need to know myself. And there's a lot of time in that, to really figure out, so what does make me tick? What am I looking for? Why am I like this? Is this a chosen personality trait or habit, or is this something that's a condition? And the more you start to really recognize these things, you just start looking at people in a whole different way. And then you start, you have a choice now, opposed to this is what you're getting. And then if you could reflect back on relationships, there is certain patterns, whether it be in your behavior or in the behavior that you're attracting. And when you say communication wasn't, I'm speaking for you, correct me if I'm wrong, it wasn't the strongest part of the prior relationships with yourself and your current partner's previous relationship, I could relate to that huge, where our communication was terrible. It was terrible, and a lot of it was just, that's all we knew. There wasn't any courses prior to that. We're just watching our parents and saw how they talk, and whatever you've been around, and that's it. And before you know it, it's like, God, I'm dating your mom. You know what I mean? I'm not looking for that.
I think that's key. Is that in my previous relation, I'm not saying that our communication was horrible.
No, I'm not saying you did.
It's just that we were communicating with what we knew at that time.
Exactly.
And going through the courses that we went through, I learned a different way of communicating. Yeah. And as you said, it's very imperative that you get to know yourself on a deeper level, so that you understand what your wants, needs, desires are, be able to communicate that to someone, and then know what the boundaries are and what areas in which you can compromise. Yeah. And have that completely communicated before you enter into a relationship. And then also once you're in that relationship, my partner and I have a sort of communication that there's that old adage that you don't go to bed angry. We don't go to bed angry.
Amazing.
Because we can say anything and it's heard.
Yeah.
It's not always worked out on that same day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes people need space. But the beauty is that if you need this space, you're able to communicate that you need the space, and the other person knows that doesn't mean anything right now.
Exactly.
This doesn't mean I'm not coming back to this table to have a conversation.
Yeah.
In this moment, I need space.
Yeah.
I still love you. I still am in this. I have chosen you, and every day I continue to choose you.
But I need my space.
But I need some space.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Like a highlight of the course is that I recall at least is they said we're meaning-making machines.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So we're constantly making something mean something. So what you just said right now, you're like, I just need my spade. It doesn't mean anything. But if you don't have that ability to, it sounds silly, but if that person doesn't recognize that, all of a sudden it's like, oh, what did I do? What happened? What are you mad about? What's the problem? Are you cheating on me?
It becomes so
and that's it. You know what I mean? That whole thing becomes something else. And then it gets even worse because now I'm not even telling you what I'm thinking in my head. I'm coming at you with a perception or a perspective that is completely in my head. It's an illusion, or it could be a gathered perspective from the people that I've talked to and shared my personal stuff with. And now here I'm coming to you. Meanwhile, all you're dealing with is a bad client, maybe. You know, or you never got the winning offer. You know,
imagine the amount of people that are still running around in life that haven't even figured that part out yet.
Oh, dude.
Oh, almost everybody.
Exactly.
Basically.
But even when you
frustrating.
even when you figure it out, though, there's levels to it because it'll repeat itself. It's not like you mastered it. It's an ongoing process. You're constantly
work on it.
100%.
Yeah.
I feel like we just figured out life.
My favorite part actually about that whole thing is there's another part of the course, and I honestly don't remember if it was one of the main courses or if it was a seminar, but there's something that's called they use these words. It's called distinctions. And they kind of have like this word that you work on in life, and one of those words is responsibility. And in specific, they frame it that you are responsible for your communication. In this conversation, I'm responsible for my communication. I'm also responsible for yours. And further to that, what if I were responsible for the communication of everyone? And the second part of that is that there's a phrase within it that says also responsibility is a grace you give yourself. And I've played around tons with this concept, and the way that I take that one is that if responsibility is a grace you give yourself, what it means is if I'm responsible, I can't blame you for anything. And that it automatically, if you can come from that, it takes down some of the walls, and it makes you realize that the other person does have their own thing going on.
Of course.
I'm responsible in that moment for caring for them the way that they need to, and also caring for myself the way that I need to be cared for. So again, I need that space. And I think just like always returning to that.
You said something key there. If you could come from that, right? The ability to come from something is huge as well. As soon as you walk in the door, what are you coming in with? Are you coming in with the guy that cut you off? Are you coming in with the boss that threw a whole stack of pay? I don't know if they do that anymore. It's just a saying now. Gave you extra work to do, or you know what I mean? Like you came with an issue and now you're walking into your house with that energy, or a conversation, a phone call. When you pick up the phone, it's your spouse, it's your girlfriend, it's your boyfriend, it's your kids, whoever it is. How are you picking up that phone? You know, and it's that. What are you coming with? And relationships is a great example of that because sometimes you're bringing your baggage with you. And then, you know how, like, I never understood this until, like, recently, where I'll say women for now, but you could say men, too, to a degree. You're in an abusive relationship. Like, let's just say for women, it's physical. Let's just say for men, it's mental. Or it could be physical, too. And you break up. You finally get out of that relationship. Don't you go find the same person again?
The trauma, it's still
like you're addicted to it, right? Like you want that same
unless you didn't
thing
take
again.
that time to figure out what caused it. Why did I get in that first place, or where did it deteriorate that I ended up in that place, and then realize, all right, I don't want to go back to that. So I got to ensure A, B, and C don't get repeated. I got to make sure that I identify 1, 2, 3 so that I can run from it. Like, unless you have the time to digest everything that you've been through.
Exactly.
So you don't walk through it again. Yeah, man. And, like you said, that addiction, man.
And this is what I mean by all the stuff that we're talking about from philosophy, psychology, whatever it may be, that you're having that inner conversation before you're having the outer conversation with somebody else. Like you could come across this information through other people, other courses and other books, right? A big one for me, even before I took this course that allowed me to really get through a time period in my life that was extremely difficult was, everyone talks about this book too, but Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. And the coincidence of this was, I listened to it at the same time that I was listening to The Power of Habit by, I forget his name right now. Anyway, they're both popular books. One is talking about human behavior, habits, you could say neuroscience to a degree. And then Eckhart Tolle could be, if you want to say spiritual, or it could also be psychological. And it's like your mental inner dialogue, that conversation that you're having with your thoughts.
Is it Charles Duhigg?
Charles Duhigg.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So listening to both of those at the same time and really starting to see my patterns, like literally see them. Like, why am I going to go get a coffee right now? And, you know, at this time, okay, well, I guess my sleep's not important, you know, like whatever that is.
Yeah.
And then you slowly really start looking at, well, if I want to get here, how am I going to get here with this? This as in my current set of habits, right? It breaks down everything for you. And then that communication starts. Now you start looking at, what am I constantly thinking about? And then I always say this, and I feel like I don't say it enough, but 50 to 80,000 thoughts a day. That's the average amount of thoughts that we're having.
50 to 80,000?
Yes.
Oh, I'm definitely on the 80,000 end.
Yeah. Yeah. But check
More,
this.
if not 100, exactly.
More.
Yeah, like, I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't stop. When I hear people talk about, I'm not thinking
hard
about
to
anything.
sleep.
Are you why would you lie?
Yeah.
Like, don't lie. You're thinking about something.
But they don't know that either. It's almost so habitual at this point. Don't we think, like, remember when it was like, you think someone's crazy because they're talking to themselves?
Yeah.
But it's like, yo.
You're constantly talking to yourself in your head. It doesn't stop.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like, when you're able to just say what it is that you're thinking in real time, you haven't, like, come on, bro. You got a long way to go.
So check that out. So 50 to 80,000 thoughts, right? Upward of 70% of them are repetitive. So just check that out real quick.
Sure. Yeah.
So now you're repeating the same
sure.
thing. That's why affirmations are so important. Like we're having this conversation with Pree, where I'm like, your mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's not. You program it. This is what I mean by that. You're programming yourself to, I don't know, to speak to yourself a certain way. Oh, you're never gonna make it. You can't do this. Whatever. Now you start supporting that, right?
Language has the power to create.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And where are you coming from, right? So what's that energy? What's that source? And then the bigger one, now this is the crazy one, upward of 90% of those thoughts are negative. So repetitive, negative. What shot do you have? You know, like there's a lot of power in what you're saying. So this is a perfect segue into something that we spoke about before too, or that we do talk about. Obviously, you have your relationship,
90%.
but you also have you got two stepchildren, and I'll just say this live personally. Like I love the conversations that we have about kids, and you check in on me to see how my kids are doing often. And these are big relationships, similar to us too, similar to all of us. We all have that in common, right? How do you navigate that? Because I feel like your boys are a little older, and I know you're hands-on and you're engaged. And yeah, I'll leave it there for now.
So, first of all, when my partner came into my life and she had 2 children, I loved them before I met them because they're of her.
That's big.
Yeah.
No, it really is.
Yeah, it
like,
is big.
Yeah.
And so, from the moment that I loved them before I met them, I felt a responsibility towards them. And so me meeting them went very slowly because that's what I felt they needed. And very intentionally created that relationship. So it was important for me. I met their father before I met them.
That's big.
We had a discussion. I'm quite lucky that he actually shares his children.
Yeah.
In regards to, we are a 3-parent household.
Yeah.
So he lives within walking distance of us.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. But like all the decisions for the children are discussed between the 3 of us, and I'm again like elated and blessed that he allows me to be a part of their lives in that regard. They are, I'm in an interracial relationship, so they're a 13-year-old and a 15-year-old Indian boy.
Yeah.
Boys.
That's an important age too, man.
Oh yeah.
The role model that they need at that time. Yeah. Sorry, you're gonna say something.
It's making me think of late. This is giving me late bloomer. You still haven't had the opportunity to check that show out?
No.
Just Rain?
Yeah.
Oh,
Justy
right.
Brina?
Yeah, you talked about that. Yeah.
Justy Brina?
Yeah. So his character has a cousin who is a white guy. So he comes from an interracial relationship where the mom is white, Caucasian, and the father's Indian. So part of the storyline is his experience, because he's still in like an Indian home, and they celebrating these cultural things.
Yeah.
But when you see him, he presents as a white guy. So it's kind of like, oh, this is interesting, and I like what they're doing with that character. And even that, it's like he's often with his cousin, who is I forget his name in like the show, but they're together. So it's interesting to see the experience. And yeah, like SB was saying, it's where they're at in their age. There's probably a lot that you could have to offer to them, like just from your perspective as a lens.
And vice versa.
That's
the cool thing.
100%.
That's the cool thing. I think one of the things that I was super worried about is that I know that I walk through life different from all of you guys. Like, I get that.
Yeah.
I get emotional.
What gave it away?
Yeah.
I'm getting emotional.
Yeah.
Like, I have two boys that I don't know what their experience is in life.
Yeah.
And I want to do everything to protect them.
For sure.
And there's things about that I don't understand what their experiences might be.
Yeah.
And I can't.
Yeah.
I can never do that.
Yeah.
You didn't expect this, did you?
I mean, no, but I'm starting to tear up my damn self, man. Because it's just,
it's real.
even just being able to acknowledge that, and like you said, just like having their presence there and you being able to see it in real time now, there's a lot of things that people just are not privy to. And I've said it once and I'll say it again. Coming from the community that we come from, there are a lot of challenges that we have faced. And I know there are people that have experienced these things elsewhere, but it's not just one time. It's like a everyday thing. We literally have to like go through the day hoping that we don't get run up on by somebody. The police don't. There's a ticket that's sitting up there, and it represents a time that a police officer tried to issue me a $500 ticket for using a handheld communication device while driving. I was sitting parked outside my friend's house. Why would you try to lie on my name? Like, why would you do that? I've literally had to I've been in handcuffs at the front door of my friend's house.
Right.
My entire neighborhood was outside to see this. And this is after me doing absolutely nothing.
Should have been wearing that jersey, man.
Come on. I'm joking. But you get it, like things like this. It's like we've lost friends.
That's a fact.
Lots of friends. The first time I'll never forget the day I was speaking with my therapist, and he asked me. I told him, I don't even know how the story came up, but I'd shared something about like losing a friend at one point in time. And then he had asked like, how many times has that happened? I was like, bro, like, how much time you got? He's like, there's a lot of them. I was like, yo, there's more. He's like, more than 5? Yeah, I'm kind of like, I'm going on the 20s at this point. Like, what are we talking about?
What was his background?
Older gentleman. He's Trinidadian, I believe. But just not being from the community that we're from. It's like there's experiences that I've dealt with. It's like people are blown away by these things. Whereas with us, that was every day.
Your therapist is Trinidadian?
Yeah.
Okay. Was that
Guyanese or Trini? What
was that a purposeful decision? Like, did you feel more comfortable with that?
Wait, first off, Indo or Afro Trini, Guyanese?
A little bit of both.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, whatever. Aduke. The fact that you got emotional about that says a lot.
It's big, man. Like, I as much as, and we have big conversations. Like we have
Yeah.
big conversations.
I know you do.
Good.
And I know that I can never fully understand it. As much as I want to, I can't.
Yeah.
Now, I'm lucky in that they report that they've never had an incident of racism.
Yeah.
So, great.
Yeah.
Great. Super happy about that. And I worry, especially as they get older.
Yeah.
Right. Because they're going to become more aware.
Yeah.
They may have had an incident of racism that they weren't aware of.
Yeah.
That's actually very true.
No, that
Yeah,
that
exactly.
is
Yeah,
a
that
fact.
that is very true.
They might not use that.
I'm actually that guy. I'm very oblivious to racism. I would say up until recently, but I still choose to be that way, just because I don't want that lens on. You know what I mean? Unless it's super blatant in my face type of deal, which I haven't really had to deal with, to be honest, other than when I lived in England. But that's just a whole different story in its own. But outside of that, it's like I notice where I could create that narrative for myself and recognize certain things and be like, oh, they're just racist, or this didn't happen because of this or that. I don't like doing that. I don't like putting on a victimhood mentality. I don't like wearing that, you know? So to your point, it might have happened. They don't know it, and hopefully they don't. But going right back to the initial thing, the power of communication. So the idea of my obsession with books, my obsession with communication, our obsession with evolving and learning and doing courses, you're not just doing that for yourself. Now you can help your kids with what you've learned. You know what
Trust
I mean?
me.
And my favorite girl's birthday's coming up, my daughter, really soon. And I know that relationships already made an impact on her with stuff that I'm learning because I can share it with her. Not only does she already apply it, but like now it's made an impact with her relationship with her mother, her relationship with her siblings, her cousins, everybody.
You know this for a fact?
I
though?
know this for a fact.
Okay.
I know this for a fact. Even with their mom, because like now, honestly, I think they watch the show on the low. So shout out to them. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just making sure you're not talking about your kids.
No, I'm talking about my kid's mom right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but I mean it in a good way because I get to speak more indirectly, but directly, if you know what I'm saying. Like I'm saying certain things that I do hope you're watching this, you know? But our communication now has gotten to a point where she can share certain aspects of her relationship with my kids. Maybe where she might have crossed the boundary with them or where they're crossing a boundary with her. And they'll actually contact me to bridge it, you know? Like to calm it down or to be able to make sense of it or whatever it is, you know? And I'll
Dad, can we
occasionally do the
get
same
your
thing.
perspective?
Yeah, you get what I'm saying? To a level, right? To a level, because sometimes
Now let's get it all in perspective.
my daughter is a very outspoken person, you know? And there's things come up. Things come up where she might not be able to fully express herself, where she needs a little bit more time, or maybe she said something, but she didn't mean it to say it like that. Like, I get what she's trying to do, you know? But anyway, going back to my original point is investing in this sort of stuff. And to your point about hopefully they never experienced that. I hope that too. But at least you're there for the conversation, you know? Because sometimes just having a shoulder to lean on or just having some ears to hear what you got to say, that could make a difference, you know? And on that note, actually, shout out to one of the homies right now because he's going through something right now. And I don't want to put out names, but we all know him. And he voiced his opinion with a post like on Facebook and stuff like that. You probably know what I'm talking about. And it's just like, we go through it, man, as men. And we got feelings too.
Yeah.
And it doesn't come out all the time the way that it did right now.
Sometimes
but I'm
it
so
does.
happy. Yeah. But it's good to be able to show that side. I feel like it's not as common as it should be, right? So I'm happy to happen right now, to be honest with you, because we care about our kids too.
Straight.
Yeah.
Man, there's like two things I can go back to because just what you were just speaking about, but being able to transfer some of that knowledge onto the kids.
Yeah.
What I've been doing lately is reading Atomic Habits with my daughters.
Boom.
Nice.
Yeah, you shared that with me too before.
And
yeah. Nice.
I've already noticed one of them picking up on so much of what the book is saying.
Yes.
Like she'll get up in the morning now without me even having to request her making her bed. done.
That's incredible.
And I told her a few weeks ago that that's probably the one thing that you can master now. Because she had asked if there's anything that she could help me out with around the house just to alleviate some of my stress. And I told her the simplest thing you can do for me is every morning just make sure your bed is made up. And it hasn't stopped. And then
That's amazing.
When I was able to apply it to the book and how it helps in shaping your habits, oh, she's all in.
She's all over.
All in. Like, you could see them, like, really taking in what the book has to say now. And I'm like, this is interesting.
Kids get things a lot easier because they haven't been left with all of the things that we have as adults.
They haven't been programmed.
They haven't been tainted, jaded.
Yeah. So it's great that she has access to that at her age. Like, good on you.
That's one of the things I've always loved about children, too, just that innocence.
The innocence.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
Because it helps you as an adult, too. Like, you were once that innocent. So it kind of keeps you young, I guess, at times.
It really does. But you remain a student, you know? Here. Yeah, I know.
No, not that. Like, that's, you remain a student. Like, that's incredible, like, what you just said. Like, just got present to that. Yeah,
For sure.
That's the
Hashtag
big
SB
thing
the
about
student.
parenting, right?
Yeah. That, and then I was going to share something real quick because we're talking about, obviously we're always talking about books, but the one thing, Gary Keller, one of the things that stood out about what he said in this book, and this, shout out to the book club, this is the book that we're reading right now. We're actually completing it on Sunday, so hitting into the next book. But anyway, one thing that they talked about was in the book, the founder of judo, right? I don't want to butcher his name right now. This is how the legend goes, and they shared this in the one thing. He wanted to be buried during his burial in his white belt. And this is like the founder. You get what I'm saying?
And if you don't know, you start at white, which is the very beginning.
Yeah. So like,
oh man,
it's pretty dope, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and then like the whole. Let me get his name. Kano Jigaro Shihan.
Okay.
And he basically wanted to embrace the emblem of a life, to be a lifelong learner. And he's like, that's regardless of what I may have mastered or what level I'm at the end of the day, this is how I want to go. Because that is more symbolic than anything else. The message that it leaves.
That humility alone, no matter how far you've come, just creates the room to go that much more.
Yeah.
And that's what's the beautiful thing about that.
Look how I can't say I can't say it better. And then I guess the way that you leave that legacy on your students or your proteges, you know, like now they're left with that.
Yeah.
That level of honor, that level of respect, that level of, you know, setting the bar to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Straight up. Yeah.
And that's in a way what kids do, man. You know, like when you're saying that innocence, like you see sometimes, like there's moments where I'll get like a little frustrated with something, right? But I give them tools. Like I let them know if, like, for example, one of the main things that I think I've shared with this in like personal conversations, you're having a bad day, you start yelling at your kids or whatever. I've told both of them, tell me to take a breath. If I'm pressing you, or if I'm, you know, being aggressive, or like, you know what I mean? Tell me to take a breath and I'll do it.
The little humans have every right to say they need space also.
100%.
Yeah.
But we have to teach them that.
Yeah, for
you know,
sure.
like we need to teach them that, like, hey, no, like, even, you know what line stands out to me? You guys remember that Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith?
Oh, I think about that movie all the time.
And he
all
has
the time.
He has that moment with his son where he's like, listen, if you're chasing your dream, no one could take you, I'm paraphrasing, no one could tell you not to do it, not even me. And this is the father talking to his son. I had that same thing with them, even in conversation. So if I'm like, get into a certain level where it's rude, or like, you know, I don't want to talk to you like that. Tell me to take a breath. I'm not allowed to talk to you like that. You don't have to take someone talking to you like that, you know? Set the bar high. Right,
super important also for your
100%.
daughter.
Oh, hell yeah.
In specific.
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah. And my son. Like they're so equal, but I get what you mean. But to me, it's level playing field. And the beauty of that also is when they're off, yo, take a breath, you know? Hey, take a breath. So they also have to follow it if they're losing their patience or they're
Shout
getting
out
upset.
Gracie's Corner, bro. You heard that track? I know you like to play Gracie's Corner.
Yeah.
Just take a deep breath.
Yeah.
Whenever you are angry, just take a deep breath. I
Yeah.
sing that. Trust me, they know they hear it. All I have to do is say that one line and like just take a
Good for
deep
them.
breath.
It's funny how much that changes, though, right?
Trust me,
Like
man.
it changes the whole vibe of everything. And then for them to now have that tool as they grow up to know that, and going back to the communication component that you're saying that you have with your partner, where it's like, you just give me my space for a minute. So now they know that they had their space. Right?
It's even better when that's a breath of fresh air. I think we'll take one last break
Yeah.
and then we'll come back with some more SUP before we wrap this up. Are you looking to refinance this year? Make home improvements? Need a new mortgage? No problem. If you are in the GTA, don't wait. Book a one-on-one consultation with Suresh Ravindran at 416-953-8073. Know all the options available to you.
Now let's get it all in perspective.
Yes, we are back, I guess, for a little bit more SUP. We happen to be joined this week by Channing Prater. If you haven't figured it out already, he was the winning agent for the purchase of that home in Mississauga, who had 85 offers come in. You had a quick question before we wrap this stuff up.
So my question was for Channing. This obviously garnered a lot of media attention, and I'm sure a lot of media outlets wanted to hit you up, wanted to get you on camera, wanted to get your perspective, just wanted to get a piece of you just to say, this is what was my process or this is what happened, just to get your take. As far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, we haven't, because I haven't seen you out, I haven't seen any articles, I haven't heard your voice, so to speak, and you know, you could have gone anywhere, but you're here with SUP. Why did you choose?
And if you don't know, now you know.
Why did you choose this platform to just, you know, just come out and just talk about the process and just speak to everything that was going on with that, and then a bit of what, I guess, introduce yourself and like why us? Like why did you come here? Just curious.
I'll answer this for him. No, I'm kidding.
To be honest, I'm just coming. Like I'm actually fans of the show, or a fan of the show. Like I listen to you guys on my commute all the time. Sonny and I have been friends for some time, and I really just wanted to kind of be a part of what he's doing. I think you guys got something big going on. It's a very vulnerable show. You guys are. You guys are legit in your conversation. So, you know, my reason for being here today is not to talk about the 85 offers. I'm happy to have had the opportunity to do so. But really just hanging out, getting to know you guys a bit.
Appreciate you for doing so.
You know what? Do you have any questions for us? Anything. You could even take a look around the room. Maybe if something triggers a question for you, anything. Anything you've been dying to know
Lions,
about this guy? Who's your team?
I'm afraid to say.
Hey, man, I'm a Bengals fan. I'm Bengals and 49ers. 49ers is my family team because traditionally my dad was a Niners fan, so that we just all became
Sounds like
Niners
a
fans.
bandwagoner.
Hey, man, I'm allowed to have two teams, one NFC, one AFC. But once I grew into a man myself, I said I got to get my own team. I need to build my own family team. So it became the Bengals. So I sort of go between.
For me, it's the Cowboys.
Cowboys? Oh, man.
I've been a Dallas fan since Danny White
America's
was the quarterback.
team,
Remember guys playing when I was a kid, like Tony Dorsett.
Yeah.
I have an autographed leather jacket by Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith.
Okay.
What?
Yeah.
You should have wore that today, man. What?
Yeah, anyway. Dallas fan.
Aikman and Emmitt Smith?
Yeah,
Those are legends, man.
Big
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah.
I still enjoy watching broadcasts when Aikman's doing the play-by-play and the commentary.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even Emmitt Smith, like watching his shoes for one. Like I wish I could find a pair of those Emmitt Smith shoes from back in the 90s.
Day, yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Those joints. Yeah.
But Cowboys. No Michael Irvin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Damn it, where are we going with that?
We were asking him if he had any questions.
Yeah,
that you had.
Well, the Detroit thing is that was the very first football game I ever went to, a Detroit Lions game, Detroit versus Green Bay.
So, despite my accent, I was actually born in Flint, Michigan.
Oh,
Okay.
And my dad, back in the 70s, used to have season tickets to Detroit.
Wow.
Yeah. And later became a Raiders fan.
What?
Oh, okay.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my dad passed away 5 years ago. So, the Raiders actually didn't have a team.
Man, yeah.
And then looked okay like the year after my dad passed. It's like,
How was that experience for you?
my father?
Yeah, like losing him, because 5 years ago is still fairly fresh.
Here's the cool thing about that is that I'm learning more about my father through being a father. Yeah. And yes, it is.
dropping
It
the
is.
bars
It is.
today, man.
It is very. It is very raw.
You trust me, that hit home for me.
Yeah.
That really hit home for me, man. You have no idea.
My dad was the type of guy that he never not that he never. He didn't often say the words "I love you" because that was just the type of guy he is, right? And he would, instead it would come out like, "Did you check the oil in your car?"
Yeah.
Those sorts of ways. And
That's just their way of knowing that you're on their mind,
oh yeah,
no matter what.
yeah.
And making sure you're taken care of.
I feel we could all relate to that.
Yeah.
That entire.
Yeah.
My father is 67. I think. Yeah, I think he's 67. He just said verbally, "I love you," for the first time, just like a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh damn, okay, about time there, Pops."
But I mean, I think part of that is like a generational thing.
Oh,
right?
for sure.
Yeah.
But what it showed me, and like to your point, it made me like respect and love him even more, if that makes sense. Because I'm like, look at you still evolving, bro.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Cool.
You know?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it was beautiful. Like it was like,
Yeah, I like that part.
like you just to see like, you're still at it. Like you're good. Like you're really on this journey, because he's on his own journey, spiritual journey. Like he's religious, and I don't want to shoot anyone down when I say this, but it might come across that way. Or maybe I do want to shoot him down, whatever. People that are overly religious, but they're really not. Like, they could recite the Bible, the Quran, or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But they're not practicing those teachings. So it was beautiful to see that, like, you're religious. He's sick. He's Chuck.
Yeah.
Right. He's got a turban, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But you're actually doing it, bro. Like
Yeah.
you're actually growing with it.
Yeah,
opposed to just crossing the T's and dotting the I's.
Yeah.
So, but another thing to your point of growing or getting to know your father more as being a father, can you guys relate to that?
For sure.
Oh yeah.
Like getting to know your parents like more so now, because now you have a different perspective. You have a new lens.
You can
on.
appreciate their struggle.
Exactly. All of that.
I think too, like one of the things, like if you think about it, I don't know, my dad might have been. I have two older sisters, 11 and 13 years older than me.
Oh, okay.
So when my father first became a dad, he would have been 21, 22. And I challenge you to look at any 21 or 22-year-old that you know.
I knew exactly where you're going with that. Exactly.
Yeah. And,
they'd have no idea what they're doing.
They have no idea.
Yeah.
None whatsoever.
And they're learning in the moment.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And there has to be some grace in regards to a father coming into his own to know somewhat what to do.
Yeah.
Right? Because he is still growing and evolving and so on.
I've been having a lot of those same thoughts as of late, because I lost my mom a year ago. So it's still really fresh. And there are so many times that I think back on some of the simplest things that I looked at when I was 5, 6, but how much value it still has now when I'm 38, and being able to replay it with my children.
Yep.
It's and to see how much joy they get in some of these things, and when I'm able to explain what it stems from, because one of our new traditions, because I have like my daughters, I'll bring them to school on Wednesday mornings, and we'll always go to Tim Hortons on Wednesday mornings. And one of the traditions that my mom had with my sister and I when we were younger was we'd always stop. It was like Friday mornings typically, I think it was, to get a donut.
Yeah.
As we switched buses to get to our babysitter. So me having that experience with my mom back then, I'm able to now have the same thing with my children now. It's a donut. It's just going to Tim Hortons to get a donut, and they love it.
It's a tradition. It's not
it.
just a donut.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah,
and that's where the real value is.
We need them to sponsor us and get you in a commercial on
Tim's
Tim's or something.
Bruh.
I'd sell that shit like no tomorrow,
rebrand Boston Cream Bun.
Oh man.
No, the way that you were just talking about your mom though, like, it's funny for me because in specific, the 13-year-old that's in my life, sometimes he says something and I can hear my dad laugh. And my dad never met him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Never met him.
Wow.
So like I know my dad would have adored both of them, but in specific he would have had a special thing because their senses of humor are very similar.
Yeah.
It's as if he spent time with my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
that's
super
also
cool.
a real thing, man. Like,
Very.
like souls travel
Very.
together. So
That
Yeah.
part.
Yeah.
That part.
One last question before we wrap this up, though. Do you feel like being an agent is your calling? Like, do you feel like this is what you're supposed to be?
I think helping people is my calling.
Ooh, boom.
One last part.
And being an agent is one of the ways that I can do that.
Yeah.
So my background in regards to my schooling is that I have a master's degree in criminal justice.
Okay.
Wow.
And that started out with me wanting to go into juvenile probation. Did an intern for that for a while. Some knee injuries actually kept me from going into the police department through that sort of aspect to the States. But I've always had like a strong desire to help people, and this is one way to do it. So that's my one thing.
I think it's one of the most important ways too, because
Bruh.
your home is your sanctuary, and if that place doesn't feel good to you, you're never gonna feel good anywhere. So with you taking the time to help people in like understanding even just that, and then purchasing their sanctuary, kudos to you, brother. And we very much appreciate you joining us.
No, thank you very
If
much.
I can get the round of applause real quick.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for your time, Channing. Honestly, making everything work out, and being as vulnerable as you were, being as transparent as you were, and just giving us all those sides, man.
I want to say
great.
thank you for, I don't want to call you a fan, but just thank you for just keeping up with us in our show and our journey and our therapy and our conversations and just being a part of it. Like, even when you're on the show or if not on the show, just thank you for that.
No, thank you, man. It makes my drive a little bit shorter sometimes, so cool. Appreciate it.
And we hope to have you back the next time you have another home that you might be involved in with another 85 or even 100 offers at this point.
185.
And on that note, that was another episode of SUP. Again, if you haven't already, hit the like, the subscribe, the notification bell. Do all of those things for us because your commentary, your likes, all of these things are very much welcome. Pree, shout out to you again once again.
Pree.
We'll be back next week with some more perspective. And until
SUP.
then.